Do you have a game that you go back to time and time again? A game that when you're just not sure what to play, I guess I'll play that game. A game that when you've just come back from holidays and you can't remember what you used to do for fun, I guess I'll play that game. I don't know if the last one's actually relatable to other people, but it happens to me every time I get back home after being away for a while. So why do you go for that game in all those situations? Because it's comfortable. That game is your comfort game. But why? What is it that makes a game comfortable? What is it that drags us back time and time again, even when we have 30 brand new games that we've just bought on the latest Steam sale that we haven't even played yet? Just like with most things in life, the answer is different for everyone. One thing that makes a game comfortable is being able to easily pick up and play, and being able to easily come back to the game after having not played it for a while. Roguelikes fit nicely into this box. Starting a new run each time you play means that even if you haven't played the game in months, or even years, you can pick it up and start fresh. You don't have to try and remember what you were doing last time you played. You'll never have to pick it up halfway through a long quest and struggle to remember what was happening. This is something that I find happens to me all too often. I'll start a game, play it for a few days or a few weeks, really enjoying myself. Then something happens and I don't play it for a few weeks, maybe even a month or two goes by. Eventually I remember I was playing the game and really enjoying it. But once I load up that save file and find myself in the middle of something I was doing weeks ago, 9 times out of 10 I won't remember what it was and why I was doing it. And then suddenly there's this invisible barrier preventing me from jumping back into the game. It's off-putting, kind of disheartening. It just feels like far too much effort. A lot of the time, that's enough for me to turn off the game and go back to an old comfort game. Or sometimes I might just delete my save file and start all over again. That may seem silly to some of you, but I've just come to learn that this is who I am, and this is how it is when it comes to gaming for me. There's a reason I've never finished the main storyline in Skyrim after hundreds of hours of playing, and this is that reason. The Binding of Isaac is one of my comfort games. I've never gone more than a few months without playing it. It's my third most played game on Steam, only trailing behind 2 of my other comfort games, which I'll talk about more later. Ever since I first picked up my copy of Wrath of the Lamb Special Edition on a whim at EB Games, I've been hooked. I was browsing the shelves, just killing time, when that black box with the blood red writing down the spine caught my eye. That looks kinda cool, and what a weird title, I thought to myself. I pulled out the box, saw the artwork on the front, and I was sold. I didn't know a thing about the game, but I knew I had to have it. And what an amazing choice that turned out to be. It's kind of funny to think you used to be able to buy physical PC games in stores back in the day. Those days are long gone now. I have found myself more times than I can count just sitting at my computer bored, wondering what should I do with myself before opening The Binding of Isaac almost instinctively. Knowing I can sit down for 30 to 40 minutes and get a run completed is a really nice feeling. I often gravitate towards games that I can get a sort of feeling of accomplishment or closure from in a relatively short time. I think because during my gaming sessions, I often find myself up and down a lot, dealing with things around the house, like my crazy orange cat trying to destroy something, or one of my old dogs deciding that they need to pee right this second, or because I get the urge to do something different so frequently. Gee, thanks ADHD. I subconsciously want to feel like I've achieved something during my gaming sessions, like it wasn't a complete waste of time. The Binding of Isaac gives me that feeling. Whether it's winning a run or losing a run, there's some sort of conclusion reached, usually within under an hour of playing. There are so many roguelike games on the market these days though. Enter the Gungeon, Hades, Hades 2, Risk of Rain, Spelunky, Rogue Legacy, Nuclear Throne, the list goes on and on and on. So the pickup and playability and the fairly short runs can't be the only reason that The Binding of Isaac is one of my comfort games over others though, right? I think a big part of comfort gaming for me, and many others probably, is familiarity. Picking up a game you've played hundreds of times before, you know it front to back, it's just so much easier than starting a game you've never played before. To start a new game, you need to learn the controls, figure out your goal, learn the ins and outs of the gameplay systems. It just uses a whole lot more mental energy compared to going back to good old reliable. My brain likes to go down the path of least resistance wherever possible, so if I have the choice of playing Binding of Isaac yet again, or starting up a totally new game, there's a damn good chance that I'm going to play Isaac. Especially if I've had a long day at work and I just want to unwind. It's the easy choice, it's the comfortable choice. These days, one of the biggest things I find prevalent throughout most of my comfort games is that they're all games I can play while watching YouTube on my second monitor. Games that don't require my full attention. I think it's like my personal equivalent of the Subway Surfers footage in the bottom of TikTok videos. I made a list of my comfort games at the top of the document I'm writing this script in, for inspiration. And yeah, it turns out that the majority of them I play while watching YouTube, because of course, I watch way too much YouTube. Let's move on to two games that are kinda similar. What is it about Forza Horizon 5 and the truck sim games that make them comfort games to me? There's something so relaxing about driving in video games. Driving in real life? No, not so much. I mean, that's kind of not true. I drive a lot for work, and it's all long highway drives. I find that really relaxing. But like driving in traffic, oh god, I hate driving in traffic. I hate it so much. Sorry, getting a little off topic there. Driving games really let me turn off my brain and just get into this sort of flow state. I don't have to actively think, okay, there's a turn coming up, better slow down, better get ready. My brain just kind of instinctively knows to do that. Not only do I feel this kind of zen-like calm when I'm playing them, but I can also really focus on the video I'm watching at the same time, which is not always the case with other games. I find if I'm actively thinking about the game, I take in nothing from the video I'm watching. Not only that, but I also really enjoy the minute-to-minute gameplay. Some games give me joy from the sense of progression I feel, and don't you worry, I'm getting to that in a second. But these two games, they just feel really good to play, and I enjoy every second of it. Whether it's casually driving my truck to a job site, or launching my Subaru WRX off the side of a bridge just for a laugh, it's pure, simple fun. The other thing these two games have in common that I've not found in every driving game is a constant sense of progression. See, I told you we were getting back to that in a second. I absolutely need to feel progress when I'm gaming. In Forza, you're constantly unlocking new cars, earning cash to buy new cars, unlocking new races. It's just hit after hit of that sweet dopamine. It's similar in the truck sim games as well, but at a much slower pace. Each job you take is earning you cash, bringing you one step closer to that next upgrade for your truck or for your company, and I just love that. I can't get enough. Banjo frickin' Kazooie. Man, I love this game. Hearing the music, oh, it's so good. It just takes me back to a better time. Being curled up in my beanbag, all cozy in front of my CRT, playing Banjo Kazooie for the 100th time. Just, better days, man. Better days. Grant Kirkhope is up there as one of my favourite composers of all time. Everything he touches is gold, I swear. And as a bonus, he seems like a pretty chill guy. There are a few tunes that I find myself humming or whistling to myself throughout my days. Half of them, I don't even remember where they're from anymore. They're just in my brain and they just have been there for so long. But there are two that I'm constantly whistling day in and day out, more so than any others. One is Milkshakes by Khalees. I don't know, man, that chorus is just hella catchy. The other is the Click Clock Wood theme from Banjo Kazooie. That shit lives in my head rent-free and I love it. It's so bright and cheerful with such a simplistic melody, it's hard not to get it stuck in your head. It probably helps that the song has 4 versions in the game, one for each season, and the level is probably the longest in the game, so you hear that song a lot. Music alone is not enough to make a comfort game though. Banjo ticks 2 more major boxes for me though personally. The first being nostalgia and emotional connection. I know, nostalgia goggles, rose-tinted glasses, boo boo. Some people really like to crap on nostalgia as a reason for enjoying things, but I don't agree with that. If nostalgic memories bring you joy, regardless of how objectively good or bad something is, why should that matter? When I was a kid, my sister and I got a Nintendo 64 with 2 games, Mario 64 and Banjo Kazooie. Playing either of those games brings me back to a time when I didn't have a care in the world, and I could spend my afternoons after school playing Nintendo until I had to stop for dinner, or maybe give my sister a turn. It really is a relaxing feeling like no other. Hearing the music of Clankers Cavern will always instantly bring up vivid memories of playing Banjo Kazooie on New Year's Eve, while my parents were outside setting up for that night's festivities, and also the smell of a mini cheese and bacon quiche that my mum brought in for me to try. It's such a little thing, but it really does make me smile. The third, and arguably most important box that this game ticks on my comfort list is ease. A game doesn't have to be easy to be comfortable, but I do think that ease is important. Ease can be gained over time throughout repeated playthroughs. It seems like a hell of a lot of people would consider the Souls series to be on their list of comfort games, but they sure as shit are not easy. but they have a certain ease to them for someone who puts in hundreds and hundreds of hours into them. They know the ins and outs of the games, they know what to expect around every turn, and even if it still provides a challenge, it's not the same kind of challenge you face when learning a new game for the first time. Obviously, being a game I've played since I was maybe 6 or 7, and have completed countless times, Banjo-Kazooie has that ease factor for me. I know exactly where every Jiggy is, where every Jinjo is, how to beat all the different enemies, and yet, I still love it. I'm sure there are people out there who would think that sounds so boring, playing a game you know back to front again and again, but to me, I just find so much satisfaction in turning my brain off and ticking off that game's checklist, one at a time. 100 out of 100 notes, 10 out of 10 Jiggies, 2 out of 2 empty honeycombs, then on to the next level. Just seeing how fast I can get through each level, almost like a lazy man speedrun, I guess. Stardew Valley is my second most played game on Steam. I love Stardew Valley. It ticks a ton of comfort game boxes for me. I can just kind of chill out while I'm playing, watch something on my second monitor. It doesn't really take 100% attention if you don't want it to. Get into that flow, farming, exploring, gathering, fishing, especially fishing. I find myself fishing a ton in Stardew Valley. So many people hate on the fishing in this game, which I never really understood. I love it. It's such a simple process, but the minigame of keeping the fish in the bar has just enough of a challenge at times that it's not completely brain dead. I can spend multiple in-game days just fishing to make some money while I watch my favourite YouTube channels. Shout out to Internet Pit Stop, Jacob Geller, and Super Eye Patch Wolf. You guys have given me so much entertainment during my comfort game sessions. Because the game is split up into individual days, I can easily just say to myself, alright, I'm going to play 2 days and then I'm going to stop. Or if I find I need to do something in a few minutes, I can just quickly finish up my day and then head to bed to save my game. There's that constant sense of progression, even on a quick play session, as every day is filled with progress towards a goal of some kind. Whether it's a monetary goal, gaining a new item for the community centre, or one of the hundreds of other goals you can set for yourself within the game. The flip side of this gameplay structure is that it leaves you susceptible to that just one more day, just one more level, just one more tool upgrade mentality. Yeah, this can be detrimental when I have other things I should be doing and I find myself stuck in that infinite loop. I can't count the number of times I've spent the whole day just going, yeah, alright, one more day, and then I'll get up and do the dishes. One more day, and then I'll get up and do whatever I need to do. But we're talking about comfort today, and there's something so comforting about that feeling for me. I've noticed lately when I'm gaming that I'm constantly stopping to check the clock. I think it must be a subconscious thing, like I don't want to get too invested and lose track of time just in case there's something else I need to be doing. Doing that ruins the enjoyment of getting lost in a good game and not having to think about anything else for a while. I've always had some weird underlying anxiety around time. I'm really not sure why. This time anxiety doesn't really happen to me when I'm playing Stardew Valley though, and I think it's because of that one more day mentality. Maybe it's because at most, one more day is only about 20 minutes, so I can check the time and decide if I want to keep playing or stop for the day. Even though a lot of the time, I'll see the time and go, should probably get up now, hey. But screw it, just one more day. I didn't actually realise any of this until I started writing this script, but I think maybe this is a bigger part of comfort gaming for me than I ever realised. Do you guys relate to this, or am I kind of alone on this? Due to the nature of Stardew Valley, having so many different things you can do, I find that it doesn't become tedious, which is another big reason it remains one of my most played comfort games. If one day I don't feel like fighting my way through the skull caverns, I can spend a few days fishing to make money instead, or focus on building my relationships with the townfolk. Having so many options stops me from getting bored and moving on to some other game, which I tend to do way too frequently. I really love games that give me options. It's kind of like a way to placate my ADHD wanting to jump between games every 5 minutes, but all contained within a single game. This way I'm actually getting somewhere in a game, rather than just dropping it to do something else before I've made any sort of meaningful progress. This leads me perfectly into my next comfort game. It's a bit of a double-edged sort of a comfort game. There is a fine line between comfort and unhealthy addiction, and I can confidently say that this game crossed that line, then it hopped in a plane and it flew halfway around the world. Runescape. I have a love-hate relationship with Runescape. This was my one and only comfort game for a massive portion of my life. I started playing when I was 12 years old, back in 2005. Everyone else at school was playing it during free time on the computers, and I decided I'd give it a shot. I was hooked. Lucky for me, at the time my computer use at home was limited to an hour or two every second day, and that rule was pretty strict. Because we had dial-up internet at the time and our computer was in the computer room, I couldn't easily sneak in and just play whenever I wanted. I most recently played Runescape about 3 months ago for a stretch of maybe 2 months before I had this moment of clarity and I cancelled my membership and uninstalled the game. Hopefully this time it's for good. It became such a comfort for me that I would just basically wake up, play before work, then go to work, come home, and play until I went to bed. I guess that's no longer a comfort thing, that's an unhealthy addiction, like I said earlier, but of course, at the time it felt comforting. RuneScape ticks every single comfort box for me. Easy to pick up regardless of your time away, check. Generally easy, check. Turn your brain off and watch YouTube while you're playing, check. Emotional connection and nostalgia, check. Music that makes you feel good, check. Satisfying gameplay loop, check. Plenty of things to do and swap between in the one game, check. Continuous progress regardless of your playtime, check. Just plain old fun, check. That sounds like the perfect comfort game for me, right? Right? Well, that's the thing. It's a little too perfect. A little too comfortable. You know what they say? You need to embrace discomfort to grow. That was me for many years. I just wasted far too much time playing RuneScape in my own cozy comfort bubble, and I let it ruin other parts of my life. It was a huge source of contention in a previous relationship I was in. There were so many days that I would rather just play RuneScape than spend time with her doing anything else, and she knew it. On the plus side, that relationship is long over for so many reasons, and now I'm in an extremely healthy relationship and engaged to the love of my life. I would procrastinate doing my uni work by playing RuneScape, to the point that I got so behind that I dropped out. Twice. Yeah, this happened twice, a few years apart. I have still never finished my uni degree. Luckily I have a good job now without having to have a bachelor's degree, but I am definitely very far behind where I'd like to be financially because of this, not to mention the massive uni debt that I still owe. The amount of times that I was invited to hang out with my friends or go to parties and instead I decided to skip that and stay home playing RuneScape is pretty embarrassing. Look, I won't keep droning on about this, you guys get the point. This really isn't what I wanted the video to be about. I just wanted to remind you to be careful, sometimes you can be too comfortable. I reached out to some of my family and friends and asked them to tell me about their comfort games. Let's start with Josh. We've been friends for years now, but we only really talk a few times a year, and every time we do, I'm like, man, I should talk to Josh more. He's such a good dude. His answer did not surprise me in the least. Let me read what he sent. My comfort game, number 1, is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I love the open-air gameplay and exploration that's found in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, mixed with the Sky Islands, and I love the beauty of the music and the creativity of the mechanics. I love the freedom that the game provides and the story I can lose myself in. The world is so dense with lore too. I enjoy being able to fully immerse myself in the world and the objectives I'm setting out and completing. The next person I asked was my friend from work, Sam. We talk about games all the time. Sam provided 2 games as they were both vastly different, but both obviously comfort games. City Skylines is because it's cathartic to grow a city, and for me, watching the traffic is kinda zen, and fixing the traffic issues is something that I can do while watching my favourite TV shows. Breath of the Wild is super chill and a huge open world to explore and run around in. I find it super chill to wander around and explore all the hidden nooks and crannies. 2 people in a row went straight for Breath of the Wild and its sequel. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe there's a sign there, telling me to finally try those games for more than 20 minutes. I know, I'm probably the only person on Earth who's owned Breath of the Wild for over 5 years and still hasn't properly played it. Next up, I wanted to ask my friend Declan, and he pretty much sent me a novel in response, and I'm not reading all that. But then, I had an idea.
Check, check, check. 1, 2.
This one is technically 3 games, but because they're all on one disc, I'm just going to count them as one. And that would be Doom 3 for the Xbox. And the reason I say the Xbox version is because if you were lucky enough to pick up the Collector's Edition, then you got Doom and Doom 2 in there as well. Doom 3 on its own is very special to me. I couldn't tell you how many times I've played this front to back. Even though it's a horror game, I find the ambience and the environment and the lighting to be really comforting. You know, in a way, I kind of grew up around this game, and really I got to experience it at so many different times in my life. When I play Doom 3 now, I'm reminded of playing this game at my nana's house in the middle of the night with my cousins for the very first time. I'm reminded of escaping the summer heat during the school holidays, playing this under the air conditioner and chugging some Mountain Dew for the second time. I'm reminded of pre-ordering the BFG edition, picking it up after school and staying up all weekend and beating Doom 3 again with new graphics. I get to remember how I felt the first time I experienced every jump scare. The satisfaction of finding a locker code after digging through audio logs and emails. Every time I see the sentry bot, I laugh because I'm reminded of the time my dad joked that we should get one of those to replace our dog and we could just turn it off when it got annoying. Doom 3 is my unlikely comfort game because it was there when I moved out of home, it was there for every breakup, it was there every time I started a new job, and it was there when I got married. I grew up around Doom 3 and I'm so lucky that I've been able to appreciate it so many times in so many different ways. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's 2 other games on this disc, and if you're into something more traditional, then this might be more your speed. Doom 3 clearly has a special place in my heart, but I'm not ignorant to the rest of the franchise. One of my earliest memories is watching my older brother play the shareware version of Doom. Now, just to sidetrack, it's worth adding a little bit of context here. I mentioned earlier that I'm specifically talking about the Xbox version of Doom, and the reason for that is until a few years ago, I've never had a proper PC. I've always had laptops, and on top of that, laptops that sucked. I tried running Duke Nukem 3D on the laptop I had during high school, and I'm not joking, it got too hot to touch before I could finish E1M2. So if I was hungry to rip and tear, then the Xbox 360 was my best friend. Doom, and to a lesser extent Doom 2, were the first games I played where I possessed enough brain power to really understand how brilliant they were. Obviously, I've been playing video games my whole life, but it wasn't until around the time I was about 17, getting drunk and playing co-op with my friends, and I just remember thinking to myself, wow, this is so well designed. Navigating the levels and just fully appreciating how clever they were, how the weapons felt and how they worked, and just how certain enemy types were put in certain areas and paired up with other monsters to just make a unique and fun challenge every time. I know that I don't need to tell you these things because everybody knows how good and how groundbreaking Doom was, but the moment when I finally realized that for myself was when things changed. I was the most depressed I'd ever been in my life, but the feeling of smoking a joint and ordering some pizza and blasting my way through Doom 2 on a Friday night, just nothing compared to it. I could still spend hours playing those games and never get bored. When I feel like I'm alone, I turn to Doom. When work kicks my ass, Doom. When I wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep, Doom. It's always Doom, and it always has been. Thank you.
Next up, I had to ask my friend Connor. We talk pretty much every day and talk a lot about video games, so I was pretty confident I was going to be able to guess his answer, but what he said took me by surprise. Okay, not to get off topic, but I would say my comfort games haven't really been comfort of late, probably like the last 6 months. Normally I'd boot up Path, but that's dead, or I'd boot up some bot games on League of Legends, but that's pretty dead for me too. So, if I'm in a situation where I don't have a main game, I revert to opening various YouTube videos I'll likely never watch instead. Well, that's definitely not what I was expecting. I didn't consider that everyone doesn't just automatically have comfort games. Maybe Connor's a bit of an outlier. Let's ask Carl and see what he has to say instead. I'm not sure I have one, to be honest. I don't play games if I don't know what to play. I have big gaps where I don't play anything at all because I don't know what to play. I think for me, video games in general is the comfort. It definitely varies in comfort levels depending on the genre though. Roguelikes versus turn-based strategies versus Souls-likes, where some are more comfy than others and might be more or less relaxing. Okay, that's another person without a comfort game. Am I wrong? Does everyone not have that comfort game that they go straight to?
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
This is not going the way I planned. I better go ask my fiancée Danny what her comfort game is. She'll give me a straight answer. She'll get this video back on track. I wouldn't really say I've got a comfort game. There's some games that I'll go back to, but if I don't feel like playing a certain game, I just won't play a game. Damn it! Now I'm going to have to think of a new outro for the video. I guess not everyone has a comfort game. That's something that I am loving about making these videos. I'm constantly learning new things as I go. There are some people who don't need a comfort game. There are people out there like Carl who just take comfort in getting to sit back and relax and playing a video game. That's cool. And honestly, I kind of wish I could be that way. But so often I find myself booting up a game I haven't played in a long time, or even worse, a new game, and I just find the whole process of learning or relearning the game far too overwhelming. I really need to be in the correct headspace to start a new game, and I'm sure it's not that way for everyone out there. On the other hand, there's also something to be said about getting sick of your comfort game, or never managing to find one in the first place. That's a crappy situation to be in. You can end up feeling like Connor where you want to play a game, but your brain just doesn't let you enjoy whatever you try, and you end up feeling really miserable and bored. I've been there in the past, and I know it'll happen again in the future, unfortunately. Recently, I've learnt a few ways to combat this feeling of wanting to play something but nothing hitting right. The first way is to just pick a game and stick with it. Pretend it's the only game you own and it's this or nothing. A lot of the time, the issue can just stem from an overload of choices. When you have a Steam library with hundreds and hundreds of games to choose from, your brain will often just kind of shut down entirely, making nothing at all seem appealing, also known as choice paralysis. Other times, and something that happens to me far too often, you load up a game and then like 5 minutes into the gameplay, you remember another game in your library you really want to play. What if that game's more fun? What if you're wasting your time on this current game when you could be having way more fun with this other game? So you close that game you're playing, you load up the other, more enticing game, and then before you know it, that thought creeps in again, but about a different game, and that cycle continues. Before you know it, you've spent an hour playing 6 different games for 10 minutes each, and you haven't really had any fun at all. I find if I just force myself to stick to that first game, if I don't think about all the other options I have, if I act like they don't exist, remind myself I've picked a game now and that's it, I just have to live with it, I tend to really start enjoying the game and getting into it, because my brain's not being pulled in 10 directions by all the different possibilities of what I could be doing instead. There are times that this strategy doesn't work though. I've realised that the times that I'm feeling this way are often times where there's something else that I'm putting off doing, whether that's something I know I need to do but don't want to, like washing the dishes, or something I want to do but think might be difficult, like editing a video or creating a new 3D animated segment for a video. These are things I enjoy and get an immense satisfaction from doing, but almost always put off because my brain tells me it's just too hard, I should just relax and play a game instead. That's a trap though, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm feeling this way and I try playing a game, even if it's a comfort game like Stardew Valley that I'm almost always enjoying, I just won't enjoy it. Because I know there's something else I need to be doing, and subconsciously that guilt is stopping me from enjoying the game at all. The older I get, the more aware of this I've become. But does that mean I've learnt from my past and I'll no longer fall into this trap? Hell no. I'd say at least once a week I'll sit down to play one of my comfort games knowing full well I should be doing something else and feel miserable the entire time. It's just kind of a way of life for me at this point. If you've made it this far into the video, I feel like you're either in one of 2 camps. Either you've been nodding your head throughout this, agreeing with most of what I'm saying, and totally get where I'm coming from. Or you're thinking, God, this guy is just lazy. Even when it comes to his relaxation hobbies, he's just lazy. Look, I get it. I do come across that way a lot of the time. I think what it might be is I spent 30 years not knowing I had ADHD, and I only got diagnosed 2 years ago. It's taken a lot of understanding to kind of work on healthy habits, and I'm still learning every day. And a lot of the times I fall back into very bad, very unhealthy habits, and that's what this looks like. From the outside, a lot of these habits just look like pure laziness. I know it kind of sounds like I'm just trying to make excuses right now, but that's really not what I'm doing. I'm not perfect, far from it, and I know that. That's fine. I just want to bring it up because I'm sure there's others out there who feel the same way, and sometimes it's just validating to hear that from somebody else, even if it's just a stranger on the internet. Someone who talks about how video games make him feel warm and fuzzy inside. It can help. There is absolutely nothing wrong with seeking comfort in something familiar, but it's worth noting that there are healthy levels of comfort and then there are unhealthy levels of comfort. This is your free time. Spend it doing something you love and something that makes you comfortable. Just don't let that comfort consume you.